What's up, guys? It is about a week from Christmas, and if you're watching this video, then there's a good chance you have not actually purchased Christmas gifts for your loved ones, which is okay. There's many of you out there who are all probably freaking out right now, running around trying to find the right gifts for the people you love the most. But don't worry, I have a fantastic list of the perfect books for gift giving, whether that be a friend, a family member, white elephant Christmas party, you name it. Let's dive in. So if you have an uncle out there who loves conspiracy theories, thinks the government has secret agents all over, really enjoys a good sci-fi story, and also likes a really action-packed movie, and bonus points if this person loves Keanu Reeves, this is a perfect book for them. The Book of Elsewhere by Keanu Reeves and China Miéville, I highly recommend this book for that type of person. This is a very, very interesting book. It's very genre bending. It blends a lot of modern action with sci-fi and fantasy elements. There is this essentially ancient person who cannot die and is completely immortal, and if he is killed per se, he actually comes back to life. This story follows his attempt to not only help the government with secret government stuff, but also in exchange trying to find a way to not exist anymore. So this book is very, very thought-provoking while delivering some really action-packed scenes. And this book is written by Keanu Reeves as well. So it's got that element of grittiness that comes with pretty much everything Keanu Reeves sets foot in. So highly recommend this book for that type of person. And I'm sure they're gonna come to you with a ton of questions after you read it. So get ready to have some really interesting conversations. So if you have like a cousin or a coworker or somebody who, really loves fantasy and they go to Renfest every year, they love to dress up, particularly the kind of fantasy that deals with kind of like medieval times, kings and castles and things of that nature, wizards with magic powers that seem to have some mysterious cost to them, all those kind of things. I highly recommend Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. This is one of my favorite books and one of my favorite authors, honestly. Robin Hobb is one of the best writers out there, and this is one of her marquee series. This book is a very sad book, which is something that maybe you want to preempt the person you gift this to, just so they're not surprised as to why they're crying so much. But it's got a really cozy fall feel to it. Robin Hobb does such a great job because you just feel so enthralled with the world building of this story, the magic system, the political intrigue. The main character that you follow, you just really root for the entire time. I love the magical system in this book because you get little nuggets here and there that kind of allude to this greater magic that exists in this world, but it's not a very hard set magic system where you're spending a bunch of time trying to learn the science of the magic, which I enjoy in other books, but for a book like this one that really sets you in that kind of medieval setting, it fits much better to have kind of that ominous magic system that just kind of lurks in the background. Robin Hobb is probably the best writer of her generation. I am a big fan of her works, and you just get pulled into a story that honestly doesn't have a lot of action to it, but you get so enthralled with the prose and the descriptions and just the character moments and the dialogue that you really don't even realize that you've just been kind of following this character through this story the whole time. This is going to be a great gift, and it'll be another gift that keeps on giving because there's so many books that you can dive into after you read this one. You got like a cousin or a sibling who's enrolled in a poli-sci or like history major and really loves a good romance book at the same time, I have the perfect book for them. A Crane Among Wolves. I read this book this year and it was such an incredible experience. This book has so much to it, and with only like 230 pages. This book has political intrigue, a coup d'etat, a murder mystery, an enemies to lovers romance, a slow burn romance. There is just so much in this story, and it's a historical fiction surrounding the takedown of this tyrannical king in this land that is based on a true story. I highly recommend checking it out for really anybody. But if you have somebody who is like very politically minded, likes to read stories about liberation, but also likes to read stories about history, but also loves to read stories about romance, this is the book for them. Highly recommend checking it out. Somebody in your life who loves anime or loves video games and is trying to get into reading, then this is the book that I would recommend for them. Yumi and the Nightmare Painter by Brandon Sanderson. This is one of his secret novels from this past year. I really enjoyed it. It's a very simple story. It's kind of a goofy story, but it has a lot of ties to different elements of different animes and video games that I've played before. Namely, if you've ever seen the movie Your Name, or ever played the video game Final Fantasy, or ever played the video game Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, this story has a lot of those elements. These two characters live on two separate worlds, and they actually swap consciousness in each other's bodies as they try to save each other's lives. So that's a lot going on. It's a very fun, interesting story that follows characters that are very easy to love. It's a great entryway into the genre. If maybe you read a lot of manga or watch a lot of anime or play a lot of video games and you want to dive into books, this could be a great place for that person to start. I would give this book to a lot of people, but particularly people with those tastes. Last but not least, you're trying to buy a gift for your dad. Your dad is a big fan of Star Wars and wants to get into reading more modern sci-fi stuff. I highly recommend the Sun Eater series by Christopher Ruocchio. The first book of that series is Empire of Silence. This is a fantastic book, but honestly is more a gateway to some really amazing books. I've only read this one and I'm halfway through the second one, but everything that this book does to set up the rest of the series is truly incredible. Christopher Ruocchio does a great job of setting up a very Star Wars-like story. There's lightsabers, as you can see. There's a main character that we start off knowing is going to turn into a villain to the universe, really. He essentially wipes out an entire population of a species, and that's just how we were introduced to this person. But then we go all the way back to when he was born and the life that he led, and this book follows kind of his origin story as we dive into learning more about this character. So if you've got somebody in your life, the first thing that comes to mind is like a dad who loves Star Wars, but I'm sure there's plenty of people in your life who love Star Wars, but maybe haven't had a chance to read a modern sci-fi book in a while. This is a great way to get them introduced. And I think they'll highly appreciate a gift that thoughtful. Those are 5 quick recommendations. You could honestly just give these books as gifts, mostly because they're great books, even if they don't really tie into the type of person you're gifting to. I've always been of the belief that not every book is for everybody, but there's a little bit of something for everybody in every book. That is not something I'll be able to say 3 times fast. But anyways, I hope you have some success buying gifts for your loved ones. Make sure you get that rush shipping or do that store pickup so that you are not caught lacking on Christmas Day. Happy holidays and happy reading.